everybody, it's QuiteGoneJin here. Today's video is going to be about the top 10 coolest game mechanics. Okay, coolest meaning super subjective, but my favorite game mechanics in the last few years that I've run into that I think are very ingenious and that have not been used enough or that I would like to see expanded upon in the future. So, without further ado, let's turn me into Pixelland and let's get into it. Oh yeah. Number 1, Unconventional PvP, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and Crawl. In these games, you can fight other players, but not in a boring one-on-one way like in Street Fighter, and not in a no risk versus reward way like in a lot of MMOs. You have the chance to lose a lot when you lose, and a chance to gain a lot when you win. Number 2, companion disposition. Not enough role-playing games make you feel like your companion might not agree with you, but in some of them, that's exactly what happens. Not only do they not agree with you, but if you straight up do something against their disposition, many times they will either leave you or attack you. This needs to happen in more RPGs. Number 3, bosses only combat. In games like Titan Souls, Shadow of the Colossus, Monster Hunter, and Outrise, you'll be fighting only bosses. Now, this is a mechanic that can be done poorly because what are you going to be doing in between those boss fights? Well, there needs to be good platforming, good puzzling, some type of engagement in between the boss fights so that the game doesn't feel hollow. And the boss fights themselves have to feel epic. They have to have some kind of scope to them, some kind of discovery, and a decent amount of difficulty. Number 4, Perma or semi-perma death. Now, long past are the days where the games are really difficult but can be beat in an hour. I'm looking at you, NES. I'm really looking at you, Battletoads. Oh, fuck that game. Actually, I love that game. These games didn't have save points, they were short, and the fear of loss was really high because once you got through your 30 lives or whatever, it's time to start all over. The skill required to finish the game was really high. You couldn't typically beat them on the first try. Whereas now, a lot of video games are much longer, but have saves, so you can drop in and out of them whenever you want, and just work towards beating it and then finish it. Well, that gets a little old, and that's why I like perma and semi-perma death. Games like Rogue Legacy and XCOM and Darkest Dungeon add this in a different aspect for each game, but it's still there nonetheless, and I want to see more of it. Number 5, physics. Jumping, climbing, throwing. Games that have a lot of impact to them like Dragon's Dogma, Dark Messiah, Dishonored, and there's many more. There's just something that needs to be said about games where you have a lot of impact. Yeah, it's just friggin' awesome. And on the opposite end, I'm sure you've played one of those games before that doesn't have impact. Everything about the game on paper is fantastic, but the models of the enemies just don't react to you hitting them, and you feel like there's really only one attack and strike animation, and the game ends up feeling very hollow. Impact is really important, and physics is how it gets done. Number 6, flattery, flirting, and overall charisma. You're looking at Undertale right now, and this game is just so surprisingly deep. You can actually avoid physical confrontation throughout the whole game. And there are a handful of games out there that do this. For example, even AAA titles like the new Deus Ex and, well, the previous Deus Ex and the new one that's coming allow you to completely go out killing anyone. I believe Dishonored does it too. Anyway, what matters is that you need to feel like you have an alternative route. It doesn't have to be charisma, it doesn't have to be flirting, it doesn't have to be flattery, but just a way to use your brains, to use your smarts, to use your intelligence instead of all of that huge, ginormous, ripping muscles that you have. Yeah, use your brain. Oh my god, it's number 7 already. Player, enemy, synchronized movement. Well, that was complicated. Okay, games like Braid, Super Hot, and Ronin have this, and I think there are more out there, but these are the only 3 that I've played. Basically, the game either only moves when you move, or it has some kind of synchronized movement with you. So in Braid, whenever you move forward, the game moves forward. Whenever you rewind time, you and everybody in the game moves backward, and you kind of have to figure out the puzzles like that. Super Hot is very similar, and it's an action-oriented game where you can dodge bullets because they only move when you move. So a lot of cool melee and shooting, and I can't friggin' wait for this game to come out. Ronin is also like that, and it has a pretty deep upgrade system. So all 3 of them are very cool. There might be other games out there that do this. I haven't seen them because it's one of those mechanics that's very tricky to do properly, but when done properly, it's just friggin' amazing, and it adds a bit of tactical gameplay to an otherwise simple, straightforward action type of game that you wouldn't normally have. And I hope people use it more often and innovate and make it their own. Number 8, single player co-op. What does that even mean? Well, once in a while, a game like Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons comes along and they do something completely unique, and you just have to mention them even though you've never seen it before in another game. Basically, each analog stick is a different player on the field, a different brother, and you have to control them both in synchronicity in order to get the puzzles done. Pretty basic. I don't have to say more, but it's fucking awesome, and you need to play it, and I need to see it in more games.
Come on, guys, it's just so cool. You should play it. Come on, you should play it. Just play it.
Number 9, dimensional shifts. Change in perspectives. Fez, you beautiful, beautiful creature, you. You know, I'm noticing a bit of a pattern here, and that a lot of the most innovative games tend to be indie games. It's just something I see more often, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that they're not being pressured by anyone other than themselves to create something new. Anyway, that aside, I love Fez. I love it because it makes you look at the game differently. It makes you think differently, and it almost makes you learn a new language. You have to learn something brand new, and once you get it, you just really get it, and you become really good at it, and it just opens up your mind, and all of a sudden you get that mind blown feeling, and it's kind of fantastic. I don't know if any other games have done this. I haven't seen it in many other games where they really warp your perspective of the game, but I'm sure it's out there and I want to see more of it. And finally we come to number 10, breaking the fourth wall. Metal Gear Solid did this with the Psycho Mantis fight. Look it up, it's freaking so cool. And Deadpool does it all the time. You know, this is one of the best mechanisms for comedy. And I'm not talking about just in video games. One of my favorite shows ever, House of Lies with Don Cheadle, does this a ton. And when that fourth wall is broken, it just opens up so many opportunities for comic relief. And you know, there's not enough funny moments in serious games. I'm not saying Deadpool is a serious game. Far from it. Metal Gear Solid certainly was overly serious, but it had some great comedy here and there. Breaking the fourth wall really helped. And that's it, guys. Those are my top 10 favorite, most badass, coolest, bestest ever monumental game mechanics. I'm sure there's other ones out there that I'm going to fall in love with, but these are the ones that came to mind. What about you? Are there any game mechanics out there that you thought are friggin' awesome? Are there any games out there that had the game mechanics that I mentioned that I don't know because, oh my god, you better tell me so I can play? Please tell me. Well, that's going to be it for now, guys. I hope you have yourself a wonderful day. Please comment, like, subscribe if you feel like I deserve it. And I hope to hear from you soon. And you will be hearing from me soon. Have a wonderful day. Thanks kindly. Bye-bye. Well, that was a lot of fun. On the left, you're going to see an indie game called Dark Flame, and on the right, my most anticipated games of 2016. Please click. Thank you.